Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Your most requested Dio song that I have not yet analyzed is Children of the Sea. So that's what we're going to listen to today. Now, I think a lot of you know that I prefer analyzing recordings where I can see the singer's mouth and body and that also have great audio quality. And this is why I've analyzed a lot of older Dio performances when recording technology was better. For some contrast and breadth of understanding, though, today, we're going to take a listen to the studio version of younger Dio. Let's get to it.
In the misty morning, on the edge of time, we've lost the rising sun, a final sign. As the misty morning rolls away to die, reaching for the stars, we blind the sky.
Oh man, I just love Dio's voice so much. This is fun to hear a younger version of him here too. Really, really cool. Fascinating. I just recently added an Ozzy Osbourne reference to my sort of sound prints memory book. So I understand that this is the first song that Dio wrote with Black Sabbath after they moved from Ozzy to Dio. And I can hear that Dio is also using a little bit less vibrato in this entrance. Now, that less vibrato might be due to younger Dio didn't have as much vibrato yet in his voice. I heard some of it definitely come in, though, at parts. But it also might be that the styling of Ozzy would have been to have, I think, a lot less vibrato. Or at least what I've heard of Ozzy so far had a lot less vibrato. I'm going to go back to the beginning. There were so many incredible moments that Dio added this extra expression. So I want to point them out and talk about what makes them so good. I love the clarity of the sound. And the positioning of the instruments around as well is beautiful.
In the misty morning, on the edge of time, we've lost the rising sun, a final sign.
He's so specific about when he enters a note directly or a little scoop into it. Or in sign, he was having more fluidity between the notes in this part, like a little bit more sliding. It's so very, very precise.
On the edge of time, we've lost the rising sun, a final sign. As the misty morning rolls away to die.
Die. The way that he sings die, you can tell there's pain in it. He lulls into it and then lulls off of it as well. It's got like a certain like a feeling of when you need to say something but it's really hard to get out, right? He's just so good and so detailed, even early in his career.
Rolls away to die, reaching for the stars, we blind the sky.
So first of all, to be doing that kind of back and forth on half steps with that much accuracy is beautiful. His pitch is extraordinary. And he also shifts as he's going through sky. He opens up some resonance space at one point and then goes into this distortion at the end. There's so much that happens on just this one word.
Die, reaching for the stars, we blind the sky.
There's some nice creamy vibrato.
We sailed across the air before we learned to fly. We thought that it could never end.
very interesting to hear the production on his voice, right? Because I've mostly just heard it in live situations where you're not going to be switching between doubled dio and just single centered dio. And we definitely got more of a stereo feel to his sound once we got into this part. So the production on his voice shifted. I think that they were doubling him there as well. It's sort of fascinating. I love the contrast between the first and the second part, where we had much more pristine, ethereal moments. And now we have a lot more drive, a lot more distortion in the sound. He's able to control that extremely, extremely well. Let's go back just a little bit. Look here.
Now it seems our world has come undone. Oh, they say that it's over, that it just had to be. Oh, they say that it's all over. We're lost children of the
One of the things that makes Dio great is his ability to just make a sound that's glorious. So, or oh, it suddenly becomes something that's incredible when Dio sings it. It's beautiful, beautiful. And he had a really fun diphthong in there, which we're going to go back and catch as well. Check it out.
They say that it's all over.
Right there. So the word is over, but what he sings is over. So he leans into the second vowel of that diphthong. So the O vowel is O, two vowels that are crunched together. He leans into the U of it as he goes high. This is pretty smart. A lot of times going to a more closed vowel as you leap up can really help gather the voice a little bit. Over. So it's got a fun, almost yodely effect to it, but he isn't actually shifting registers.
They say that it's all over. We're lost children of the sea.
Like those harmonies. Nice.
We made the mountain shake with laughter as we played, hiding in our corner of the world. Then we did the demon dance and rushed to nevermore. Threw away the key and locked the door.
Wow. This sound overall is so heavy. Right? The full band Black Sabbath. I dig that they've got essentially an octave doubling that's happening in, I think, bass and guitar. And then underneath it, like that kick, it just has a lot of oomph in it. It's a lot of power behind it, and then a lot of power behind Dio's voice as well. It's just a lot of heavy sound, and Dio's voice complements it so well with that power and the distortion that he adds in, and then this extra expression on top of it. It's just one of the most extraordinary voices I've heard.
To nevermore. Threw away the key and locked the door.
So he kind of tosses off locked. It's a really fun way to get to a high note and charge it up with energy, but you don't actually have to sustain it there. Locked. If you just throw the voice up there, it could be a good way to teach you how to get in some more power into a high note like that if you do some toss-ups. It's pretty awesome to hear. But of course you could sustain that note if you wanted to. He's Dio. Just kind of a fun expression that he's adding there.
Where the key and locked
I can hear a certain lip shape in the way he's singing his E vowels here, which I want to point out. It's part of his good technique. Sometimes he has almost very classical technique in his approach. So E vowels, one of the, I would say, common mistakes with an E vowel is spreading it really far to the side and making that E vowel a little too bright and at the same time kind of shallow in the space. We have all of this beautiful space back here where the sound can marinate longer. Some styles will look to have that E with a bright sound that is shallow. They'll do that on purpose. But for this kind of depth of tone quality that Dio has at the same time as having drive, if he were to sing an E vowel that was really spread like this, it would feel too aggressive, right? We've got the distortion on top of that, and he's got so much depth in his tone, that vowel wouldn't match the other vowels. And so I can hear a certain rounding of the lips, which is fairly common to teach, especially in classical music, where instead of going E, you'd say E. And it gets a little more warmth in the timbre. You still distinctly hear an E vowel, but it's creating a little bit more space essentially for that sound to marinate in. I'm going to go back a little bit. He does this on both B and C. Let's go back a little bit further so you can hear me. No, a little further. Right, it's not B, it's B. Yes, they say that it's we're lost children of the sea. I dig that you have low O's that are happening in the sides here. Again, has an interesting stereo spread to them. It feels like they were designed almost to be ebbs and flows of sea waves. A lot of times when we talk about like the moaning of the sea or the wind, or these kinds of ideas, we tend to apply an O vowel in particular to it. Very, I like the way it was mixed in too with the instruments there. Interesting. Wow, what an entrance. That was a really cool guitar entrance. It was crazy virtuosic. It's like so many notes. It makes me think of some guy who apparently told Mozart he wrote too many notes. Like, it was so many notes at once. It wasn't too many though. It was really cool this time. I'm going to go back a little bit. The fade out of the instruments into this lower chorus is fantastic. And it let me hear that there were a few other vowels, some more uhs in there as well. Oh, further. Wow. Pretty. Is that a theremin? In the misty morning. Whoa, it sounds like there's a theremin in the background there. That high sound? I might be wrong. Correct me in comments if I'm wrong, okay? I can tell a few different things between older Dio and younger Dio. I think it's incredible how well his voice aged. First of all, I think he has some of the best vocal aging I've heard. It's really very good. The upper part of the voice is a little bit lighter, and it sounds like there's just a little more ease in it. It's not surprising as we get older. Up until a certain age, everybody's voice goes down in pitch. And then men after a certain point actually start to go back up, but that's like much later. So Dio's voice would have essentially naturally settled down lower as he got older. But he really maintained a ton of his range extremely, extremely well. And this particular opening, there's so much lightness and a really clear coming together of the chords that I think you would expect more from a youthful sound here. That's very, very interesting. Additionally, the vibrato, I've been really remarking on it throughout. Again, partly because I'm thinking about Ozzy's general lack of vibrato versus Dio, who employs vibrato extremely well, and almost sometimes even has a slightly operatic approach to vibrato. And his vibrato in I would say younger years, but from what I can hear, it sounds like it's a little bit narrower, and that's not unusual to develop a wider vibrato as you get older as well. There's actually not that huge of a difference, but it is one of the differences I hear in the aging, I would say. There were also some chimes in there as they were talking about. It was like, maybe it was the sun or something. It was some natural thing. And there was some beautiful chimes that rolled across. I love the extra instruments they have in the background here. All right, let's keep going.
We blind the sky. Oh, they say that it's over, and it just had to be.
There's that E vowel again.
Oh, they say that it's over.
Wow.
For lost children of the sea. Yeah. Look out! The sky is falling down.
Wow.
Look out! The world is spinning round and round and round. Look out!
Ooh.
The sun is going black, black. Look out!
I want to go back a little bit. Oh, we're getting close to the end too. I want to go back a little because there was a really cool delay echo effect they put on one of the lookouts. I thought it was awesome. It's fun to hear what they choose to do production-wise in the studio. Some of these things you can't replicate in live concert, but this is studio versions are essentially your dream version of what the song should be. And I love that that's something that we can share. I'm going to go back a little bit though. It's incredible the way he's able to bring the chords so fully together at times, get such a clean sound. And then I'll hear more air into the tone. And then there's also some more of that distortion that enters the tone. He's such a master of so many different qualities of voice.
Look out! The sky is falling down. Look out! The world is spinning.
I think I went back far enough.
Round and round. Look out!
There it is. Oh, that's really cool. Like those little touches, those are things that artists say, oh, I have this dream. This is the way I want it to sound. And with the right people really helping with sound production and engineering and a live performance, you can get a lot of those things back in. I just think it's so cool that they've added it here so it tells you like what their vision was.
Round and round. Look out!
And we just had that on that
The
one.
sun is going black, black. Look out! It's never coming back. Look out!
Ooh, cool ending. It's so awesome to get to have this reference and more breadth of understanding of Dio. He is an incredible vocalist, very precise, very expressive. It just came so naturally to him, and he never got in his head to take away from the message he was delivering. And he's a very giving person in performance as well. I just could analyze and listen to Dio all day. And if you want to binge some Dio with me, you can check this playlist out over here. Let's go binge Dio together. I'll see you soon.